There's a couple things I want to talk to you about in this interview podcast. You watch this podcast here, and it's a nice young fellow who has a podcast interview me about how to take advantage of anybody could take advantage of government programs. So I think it's a good way for you to learn about these programs because it's somebody asking me the questions that you probably want to ask. But more importantly, you should know about this podcast program. Now, it's called podmatch.com. And that's what he interviewed me on. And I've done a lot of these interviews on Podmatch. And it's a service. Now, if you have something you want to sell, you want to start a business, or you want to communicate with people, or just to be social, this is only $6 a month of free marketing. That's right. You could do free marketing or $6 a month. You join this, and you could be a podcast guest or a podcast host. You have your own podcast, and you get all the technology, push button, everything for $6 a month. Man, you could have your own television station, a radio station, or anything you want, and they find you guests too. So that's what's important about this. Everything is a plug and play. And for $6, it's better than any marketing. You don't have to spend money on advertising on Google or YouTube or any of this stuff. $6 has everything that's available. So I've done about 50 or 60 interviews on Podmatch. So if you go to podmatch.com and find out more, if you want to be a guest, you want to share your information about something to somebody, or you want to have your own radio show and find people that explain ideas of something. Maybe you want to talk about starting a business or something like that. So you can interview people and develop a following of people who are interested in starting a business. Or maybe you love to bake cakes, so you talk to people who want to bake cakes, and you start a following like that. It's amazing how easy it is. $6. So more important, watch my interview, okay, and learn more about how getting more grants and more help and money to do anything you want in life. That's what I'm trying to show people how to do. Okay, so sit down, get some popcorn, and watch and take notes. That's great.
Go and do kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So do you charge for this part or what?
No, this is all free.
Oh,
All
really?
free.
Ah,
It's all free. It's all
well,
on my website.
wonderful. Nice of you to keep helping people.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to
Yeah.
try to add value and put it out there. I mean,
All right.
it costs me nothing to think of this stuff. I
Right.
mean, I already talked about it, so
Yeah.
why not put it out there for people to see?
Absolutely.
If something bigger, then it would turn into the next step of it would be.
Well, it's a way. I mean, that's what I like this pod match thing is that people can take their ideas and get them out there and have people on their show that podcast gives you, and you share it with other people, and to find out a way, there might be a way to make money at it too. But you gotta,
Oh yeah.
yeah, to do
Yeah, no,
this.
there's people I've connected with on Podmatch now
Yeah.
that I would have never connected with in ever. Like I would have never met all these cool people. I mean, I've talked about people with UFOs. I've talked about wilderness retreats,
Really, wow.
all sorts of things already in just a short time.
So, and this thing, I mean, podcast, my understanding as a podcaster, it's only like $6 a month, and you're in business, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually part of the Podmatch network. So shout out to
Right.
Podmatch. I'm on the podcast network, so mine looks a little bit different, more or less, when it's all said and done at the end of the day. But yeah, no, for other podcasters, it costs $6. Like I recommend this to my other podcasters all the time. They're like, I'm struggling finding guests. It's a hard time. I'm like, do you have $6? They're like, yeah. It's all Podmatch. And you can literally find guests that are right up your alley for exactly what you're doing, what your podcast is about. I like to talk to everybody. Like I'll talk to
Yeah, even me.
Right. But I'll talk to people from all. I mean, I've always kind of been that way, where it's like a good conversation. I like to get to know new people. I like to get to know whether it's you, whether it's me, or talking about chiropractic, dogs and babies, psychology, gut health, or just so many different things. Parenting, of course, but just everything under the sun. I love to talk about those things because I like to learn new things.
Right. Keep growing, man. That's it. I'm 81, and that's the thing that keeps me
in this being alive is to keep growing forever. You know, there's no reason not
Yeah.
to.
Exactly. No. And so with you being like 81, well, I'll do a formal intro here in a moment, but
Okay.
with you being 81, what's like the secret to, your longevity? What are some of your like tips to longevity?
Getting up every day. You can't do anything like if you don't get up. That's why the biggest fear I have. Hey, I'm not underground. Look at.
Hey. But is there like any like
Yeah, I
diet
mean
that you take
it is.
to
I think
activity?
it's trying to use your heart more. It's giving with your heart. I think it's all about giving, all about using your heart as much as you can, because that's how you grow. You don't grow trying to be somebody else. You grow trying to find out what you are and what your natural skills and everything. I mean, so many of us are, we're really born to be a petunia and we're trying to be a rose, and that just fucks up everything. I mean, you can
Yeah.
fake it for a while and pretend you're a rose, but it's going to show through. And so if you are really a petunia and you just do that, you're going to grow as much as you can forever. And being involved, I think, particularly later after you finish, trying to figure out to feed yourself, and you still do that. I mean, I do that. That it's helping others, and I think that's the key too. I mean, you're in the healthcare profession. I mean, that's why I always envy doctors and things like that. But now doctors spend 5 minutes with you, and they have their hand on the doorknob to get out of the room. They can't even relate to a human, and human activity is the most growing thing I think we have to do in life is being with and helping other humans, not piling up a sack of dough in the basement or whatever
Right.
it
Well,
is.
no, and I like what you said about the flowers thing there, because
Yeah.
like it reminds me of Encanto, like that scene from Encanto,
What's
to
that?
where that scene from the Encanto movie,
Oh,
the
okay.
Disney movie, to where they're singing about where the two sisters are singing about the flowers, and the sister's always been expected to be perfect and grow roses and all these things, and all of a sudden she has emotions, she grows a cactus, and she's just like amazed. She's like, whoa, I can do all these other like crazy things. I can grow all these flowers and all these amazing things, and like it really opens her eyes and helps
Right.
her see like for who she is, and the family's really mad, but it's like, man, this is who I am at the end of the day, and like
Yeah.
it's amazing and it's beautiful for like being you and like letting yourself like grow and whatnot. So that's what it reminds me of. And then the whole doctor thing, that's a whole rabbit hole we get down. But basically, what it comes down to is, and I've listened to many, many podcasts on this between Tucker and Rogan and PVD
Uh-huh.
and Candace and just so many different podcasts on this same subject. Doctors themselves,
Right.
that on their own independent podcasts and things like that. But it all comes down to if a healthcare provider, your typical primary care physician, in that time, if they can't prescribe you a pill or they can't recommend a surgery or a referral to someone
Right.
else, they don't want it because
Exactly.
they're not going to get paid on the back end because
Exactly.
they're
Yeah.
ran by what's called PBOs.
Right.
So instead of being run by the insurance is then ran by essentially pharmacy benefit operators. I
Right.
think that's the PBM, pharmacy benefit
Right.
managers, something like that. And then on the back end, it's like if you're not prescribing them a pill, we don't want them. What are you gonna do about that?
Exactly. No,
And
it's
then
all
once you
about
get
money, not about healthcare.
exactly. Well, no, it's about pushing drugs,
Yeah.
right? It's about creating problems and pushing drugs.
Yeah.
And then the more they can push the drugs, the more money they make on the back end, the more the doctors like, well, I do want to do ethical healthcare, but my claims aren't going to get paid if I don't do this.
Right. Exactly.
And of course, we recently had that shooting of the United Health CEO.
Oh.
It's sad and tragic in itself. It should never come down to public life.
Yeah.
And someone who shoots someone in broad daylight like that, an assassination like that, shouldn't be praised. But these healthcare companies are kind of effed up. The system is really broken.
Yeah. No, that's a
And
symptom
so,
of the problem.
yeah, exactly. And it's like now I start to see like doctors and stuff coming out on social media, especially on X. Like everything's on X.
Mm.
When you go over to X, you can see doctors coming out. I filed a claim to United. They denied it for my patient because of these reasons. I had to prove it was medically necessary and all these things, and they still denied it even after I was proving medical necessity. And doctors are working tirelessly sometimes
Yeah.
in these cases to prove the medical necessity
Right.
to get the insurance to cover these different things that they need for patients.
Right.
But again, if it doesn't lead to a surgery or then a hospital stay or then drugs or all the above, then they don't want it and they're going to deny it. And it's just a symptom of the system. It's just kind of how the system is. The system is so beyond broken. So
Yep, yep. No, I believe, and it's I don't know. It's only 20% of our GDP or whatever it is. Um, yeah, and other countries do it at half the price we do it. And they live longer.
Yeah, I just read something yesterday. Um, Over here on X. It was comparing the United States to Japan,
Uh-huh.
which very similar.
Right.
We can compare our economy to so many others in the world,
Right.
right? Because we're very similar to a lot of places. We're not. We think we're very different. We're very blessed to live in the country we live in, and to have the kind of government and system that we're a part of that we get to benefit from every day at the end of it, but we're really not that different from a lot of places in the world. We think we're like so much higher and like so much more above, and our shit don't stink, but it does. I'll tell you that. But okay, so it's right here. So it was from Joey Manarino at Joey Manarino US. Japan's obesity rate's 3%. America's obesity rate is 40%. Guess what? No one in Japan is doing paleo, vegan, or carnivore diet. They're just eating, and here's the kicker: real food.
Right.
And they're none of our processed junk. Meanwhile, we're over here fasting, cold plunging, and complicating our lives. In Japan, they just eat normally, walk around, and then it was a message to RFK, please fix our country, fix our system. But our system is so broken. Like, especially with food, like we put so much stuff in our food, especially in our kids' food,
Oh
school
God,
lunches,
terrible.
that is like ultra processed. Like school lunches basically are ultra processed crap.
Right.
That doesn't fill them up, that doesn't keep them full, that doesn't provide them protein or any nutritional value. Beyond that, like you're better off if you can do it and you have the time and the ability, send your kids with a home lunch. At least you know where that's coming from, right?
Well, we're the fattest people in the world. Also, here's a data point I concentrate on. We're the richest person in the world. We create the most millionaires and billionaires in the United States. Japan is here. Okay, so we have billionaires and millionaires. So we're number one in creating millionaires. 26 million, 24 million. China is number two. They like 6 million. So way down the list. But what is amazing, so we create more millionaires, but we also create more poor people than any other developed country in the world. So the developed countries, Japan, and there's about 30 of them. So not the small countries in Africa or whatever, the poor countries, all the rich countries, and we're number one in poverty. So we have more poor people per capita in the United States than any other country in the world. I mean,
wow. So we're the richest and we're the poorest.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's the homeless complex. The homelessness complex, and I'm going to call it a complex for a reason, because it is. It's very much like the military-industrial complex. It's the homeless industrial complex.
Oh, absolutely.
We feed so much money into it.
Right.
Like every state, you can look at California. Negative deficits when it comes to homeless. Washington State, the whole West Coast over here, they all have the same issue. And literally in Seattle, I look at videos, all these things. I'm part of several groups on X about the Pacific Northwest, because this is the state I love, right? The state I grew up in, the state I live in, the state I'm raising my children in, the state I was raised in, and I was raised in South Seattle. I was raised in some of the hood areas.
Yeah.
And we have what's called the Seattle slump. So when someone's slumped over from abuse, and they're like the Seattle slump, they're just like hanging there. They're not moving. They're like a zombie. And they're just slumped over really awkwardly. Normally their body's contorted and all kinds of things and all effed up. And it's just like, how did we come to this? And it's in the same area. They never go through and they never clean them up. Right? But in California, remember they cleaned them up last year in 2024 to when they had that summit there. They were able to clean up everything.
Right.
And then it was right back to where it was again.
Yeah.
So what happened? My curiosity, a question that was never answered by Gavin Newsom, in California. I used to live in California. I'll bash on Gavin Newsom all I want. Is that where did all the people go?
I know.
Where did they all go? You can clean the streets and you can do it for when world leaders are coming, but you can't do it for everyday people that live there. You can't do it for the business owners that are there struggling to get by, because now you have $21, $22, $23, $24 an hour minimum wage.
Right.
Businesses are closing all over Seattle because minimum wage is too much. They got to close down. They can't do it. Restaurants now become food trucks because maybe that's more affordable and sustainable. You know, restaurants can't grow and expand because once we grow and expand, we have to be here and then we have to pay people and things like that. So maybe it's better we just keep this a small operation and just, you know, hit our overhead, things like that, which makes more sense to me. If I was a business, I would do that too. But, you know, the homelessness epidemic goes hand in hand with the drug crisis, the fentanyl crisis, goes hand in hand with a mental health crisis, which then goes hand in hand with a crime and violence thing. Like they're all connected here. I'm not trying to get in conspiracies or anything. Like that's not what the point of today is. The point of today is we're gonna talk about a lot of other things here.
Good.
And then,
Yeah.
you know,
Let's get doing it because I got another one soon, so I better.
Yeah. So it's so fun, but it's just kind of how we are. But for the people, let's jump in here and get into the conversation. That's not the conversation of the topic today, but I'm glad we got into that at the top here. But I'm your host, Shay. This is the Young Dad Podcast. Today we're diving into a conversation that could change the way you think about financial support and opportunities for your family. Joining us is none other than, if I haven't introduced him yet, maybe I haven't, Matt Lesko, the legendary question mark guy, who has spent over 50 years helping Americans across billions in government funding, access billions in government funding. I can't read. From his colorful suits, I mean, very colorful, just as himself today. I love it. The color and flair to his screen, love it. And to his passionate advocacy, Matthew has dedicated his life to teaching people how to find the financial help they need. And really, in this economy, who wouldn't want that? Help that's already funded by, guess what, our tax dollars, which fund a lot of things. Well, why not use them to benefit us, I guess? With over 4 million books sold in a thriving community called Let's Go Help, Matthew empowers individuals to cut through red tape, access hidden resources, and build financial independence, which who doesn't want that? Whether you're navigating debt, seeking grants, or looking for ways to support your family, Matthew's insights are timely, actionable, and inspiring. So Matthew, officially, give you an official welcome to the podcast. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do, what Let's Go Help is, kind of how it's all started, and what the heck people can get out of it?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, it's something I've devoted my life to, and I got about 10, 15 years left, I figure, to keep doing it. And I have an MBA in computers back in the 70s. I had a software company that failed, and I was failing in everything, you know. and then I said, boy, I was trying to do everything people told me to be and do to be successful, and it wasn't working at all. And more importantly, I was not having fun. And so I felt that I'm here, you know, doing this stuff every day, being, you know, not happy about doing it, but that maybe someday I'm going to have fun, and that's not guaranteed. And I said, this is crazy because it's not working at all for me. So I figured I got to turn this around. So I started sort of like having fun today, because if I'm going to have fun tomorrow, I mean, I have no control over that, whether that's going to happen. But I do have control of today, and I can have fun today. And so how do I do that? With an eye on trying to feed myself too. And that's when things changed, because then I was able to use more of myself, and I think that's what we have. Whatever is weird about us is probably our best asset that we have, because nobody else could be weird like you're weird. And so,
thank you for that. Thank you.
But that's our superpower, you know, because nobody else could do it like we can, whatever is weird about us. And so each of us can give more, that we could love more and enjoy the process of giving. If we're using what is natural about us to do, because we know that's special and we want to give it. Why do people who have a talent like singing or whatever, though, they just want to sing all the time? Or, you know, Picasso had to paint, right? You know, he didn't retire at 65, man. Yeah, and that's what we should be doing, I feel. But I'm biased. You know, you can't trust some idiot like me. But what I got after I had a software company in the 70s that failed, then I started helping people get information. And the people want to get paid for it, so you go to rich people. Rich people will pay for anything. They're lazy and just want to make money. And so I would show them. They'd want to do something. My clients were Fortune 500 companies that wanted to buy and sell companies and be in new businesses. And I was in Washington, D.C. This is back in the 70s. And so I'd go around to libraries to find information about opportunities for them to grow. And And then the librarian would tell me, "Oh, you don't want to be the library. You want to go over, like I had a client, Procter and Gamble, that wanted to invest in pasta stores." And they said, "No, don't go to the library. Go over and talk to, Charlie Porter down the hall here. He studies pasta. He's a government expert that just studies the pasta business." Wow, So I'd find him and I'd sit there and he would spend 3-4 hours with me because nobody else knew he was there. And he's been studying this stuff for 10, 20, 50 years. And he just would show me studies that the government spent thousands and thousands of dollars on and give me all this free information or whatever. And when I found this person, I mean, the problem wasn't getting the information. The problem was getting out of his office. And I grew up in a little coal mining town in Pennsylvania. I had no idea any of this stuff was here. And I saw I was getting information about money programs and everything to give my millionaire clients to become billionaires. And I said, God, why does the people in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania know about this stuff? I mean, I grew up and I think the government was the post office and the DMV, and that's about it. And it has all these resources. And we're not taught how to use that. I mean, here's the way I see our economy now. This is the gross domestic product in the United States. Okay, what the United States is made up of. Okay, we're a capitalist society. And that's the yellow part. The yellow part is capitalism. Okay. Now, and that's working well for us in a lot of other countries, and that's an important thing. But it's only 60% of the economy. See, and this requires money. Capitalism makes you pay for everything, right? That's what capitalism is. It makes you pay for that. But there's another part of our economy that I call the community part of our economy. This is the part of the economy that helps other people for free. That helps you. It gives you money for free. And that represents 40% of everything in our economy are people giving you free money and help to do things. I mean, it's anything from, like, if your neighbor, a house is on fire, okay, you go over and help your neighbor, right? And you don't ask them for a credit card first. That's what capitalism does. You don't go help anybody unless they have a credit card.
Is that Kat someone you know, Matt?
Pardon me? Yes, Kat is, that's my publicist, yeah. Okay, so tell her.
Okay.
She's probably worried I'm here.
I'll send her something different.
Okay.
To log in.
Yeah. Does she want to be on or what?
Yeah, I just got to send it to her to be an audience member so that.
Oh, I see. She wants to see you to make sure I showed up this morning.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would get weirded out when people join because I've had it happen to where I had someone join once and I was in the middle of a recording with someone else, and then the person joined like 2 days early on the link because they got the dates mixed up and they got a 6 and a 9 mixed up, and I'm like mid-conversation, I'm like midpoint, and then someone pops in and it's just like totally derailed me. It takes me completely out of like what I call flow.
Right.
Like we're in flow right now, right?
I see, right.
We're on topics or like this, and then it just throws off the flow. So my bad, I apologize. So,
okay, no hurry.
60% capitalism, 40% is
community. Yeah. So community help each other. So these are programs, and see, people go to Google. To me, Google's the culprit here, because if we need help or information on anything, we go to Google. And that's fine if you have money. But if you don't have money, and I feel about 50% of the country has no extra money at all. They're living hand to mouth, and that's about it. So you don't have extra money to improve yourself or to get out of financial debt or anything like this. So you can't go to Google because it's going to cost you money and you don't have it. So you're going to get worse in trouble and probably not even solve your problem. So you have to learn how to use this part, not this part. So that's what I try to do here. And what is, can you go online and pull up something? Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. Go to findhelp.org. I don't know if you know about this. You're in the healthcare profession. You may know about that. This is one of it's a Google, but for free stuff and free money. It's a Google for the community, not for the capitalism. Okay, put in your zip code there.
I'm going to put in, I'm not going to put in my personal zip code.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. A bigger city is good. Okay, so there you have 2,349 programs, and these are all community programs. These are all sources of free money and help to solve any problem. And look at the tabs up there: food, housing, goods, healthcare, you know, anything. You know, transit, that's transportation, healthcare.
Whoa.
Right. See, all these things, everything. Now, what I would suggest, okay, there's care, that's caring for other people. That's what you do. Okay. But here's where to get free care. Okay, go up to the left-hand side again, and you put in what you need up on the search. And like put in rent, if you put in rent. So you want to see what nonprofit organizations and government offices help you with rent. So you have 57 organizations where you live that help you pay rent. I mean, that's just amazing to me. Nobody knows this, you know? Wow.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, see.
Also, if you work in this field or you are trying to get into this field,
right.
You know, this is also a great place to look for businesses and for places that you could go work for.
Exactly. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. And see, all these people too, you want to do that kind of work. Also, see, even if one of these are not particularly, everybody has different requirements and everything, but this is a source you want to contact to find out stuff that's not in here. See, these are people that are in the business of helping people who can't pay rent every day. So they know of things that aren't even in this database. And they're, you know, the tool, you have to talk to people. You can't go to the internet and fill out an application. That's what we're trained to do. You know, but no, you have to get on the internet and call people. Hey, I have this problem. Because you don't even know. They have a requirement, but you don't really know what the hell that means. Nobody does.
Yeah, you don't know where to get, because all these things, they have like some kind of like gatekeeping.
Exactly, right.
To where they create, the government websites will create barriers to access.
Right.
One thing I've noticed time and time again, working in the field, I work with youth and families, but there are so many barriers. You have to go here, you have to sign
exactly.
forms. You go down to the county clerk. The county clerk can't really tell you what forms you need, but they can give you the forms, but they can't tell you how to fill them out.
Right.
They can't tell you if you
exactly.
filled them out right. They can only tell you if you filled them out wrong, but they can't tell you what's wrong. They can't tell you how to
right.
do it wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. But
all the things. So,
we have to train people to do that. Same way we train to hit a baseball. You know, you just don't get it. If you want to live in our society, this is the tool. See, the option is going to Google and paying for it. And if you don't have money, then you're just in worse trouble. You know, so we have to train people to learn how to use the system that doesn't require money. And you know, we're instantly lazy, so we're going to go somewhere else. Or another one I love saying is like home repair. Everybody needs home repair nowadays because you can't afford a new house. And it's amazing the amount, if you put in the keyword for home repair, you know, how many you have. What did you put in there?
Oh, I just clicked through the housing. I went to maintenance and repairs, and I clicked on the efficiency upgrades, which is a really big thing here in Washington State. So it's important to like know your state, I think, in all this too.
Right.
Like Washington State is very pro trying to get solar and
right.
things like that, and get new windows and
right. No, all that
and all these things, and so it's all what the state's about. So this is like what I thought here that I would find here, but you know, heating and cooling equipment assistance, you know, Lennox or housing improvement program.
I actually go, but
that you can get those windows, the solar panels,
right.
Heating and cooling system upgrade, things like that, for what looks like, you know, very little to no cost or things like that. But this one says it's like full.
Oh no, they're all free or low cost. Yeah. Yeah. Go back though. Start sometimes those and put in home repair in the search bar.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, see, 144.
No, it's really cool.
Now here, you're talking about home repair. This is a program that came out last year, part of Biden's energy grants. You know, last year they have data now on how people used it, and they gave out $8.4 billion, and this is to make your house more energy efficient, so that you lower utility bills. So this is $8 billion for people to lower their utility bills. And see, what bothers me is that, okay, we have $8 billion. The top 25% of the people in America in income, so the richest 25% got most of the money. They got 65% of the $8 billion. The bottom 25% got the least of the money. See, they got less than $1 billion. They got 0.001%. And these people got 65% of it.
I can't tell you a person I know that over the last 4 years, myself included, that's just an average Joe Schmo that has a lower utility bill than they did 4 years ago. It just seems it goes up, it goes up, it goes up. I don't know why it's going up. I don't know why the prices are going up. I don't use more energy. I use less energy. Lights are off, heaters are off, things are off, except for when I'm home, and blah, blah, blah. I do all the things. I set my thermostat, 68, different things, blah, blah, blah. I do all the things, right? And it still doesn't go down. My utilities still don't go down. They go up. It's like I'm using them less, but they go up. And I don't know why. I can't find the report. The bill's confusing. The bill says so many units, and times of day, these are your hours, your best hours of operation, and
well,
things like that.
I mean, what I would do, you have a State Department of Energy, and they have programs. They'll come out and evaluate your house, and what is doing that. This is actually even to get new utilities that are a lot less energy efficient or more energy efficient. And that's what this is up to $40,000 you could get to weatherize your home and make it more energy efficient. And it's really to lower your utility bills. And that's why the poorest people are going to go out in the street if they don't pay utility bills. But millionaires are getting this money, and tens of $1 million incomes are getting this money, and I'm sure they don't worry about going on the street if they can't pay their utility bills. And that's why it's just redirected. So, and it's really educating the people who can really use this. The rich people find it. I mean, that's what I used to do. I used to get all this program stuff for rich people. So I saw myself, I'm helping millionaires become billionaires, and that wasn't fun. When there's people that really, this makes a big difference in their life, and so that's what Let's Go Help is trying to show people that. And we only charge $20. And that was my dream too. I used to charge thousands and thousands because people have money, will pay anything to get more money. But it's no fun helping rich people, at least for me. So the people really need it. Everybody said I can't make money at $20, and I do. Well, actually, we make so much money now, which shocked me. I was just looking to make a living and pay my rent in my last go at life here. And we're so profitable. We give out up to $70,000 back to members every month in grants.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought you had to be Jeff Bezos to do that or something like that.
Well, Bezos will never do it.
Exactly. He'll go to the fucking moon or something.
No, I wanted to address something though that you mentioned earlier that really just kind of stuck with me here. Is you mentioned the deficit, right? And I think a lot of people know about the deficit, right? We had the whole thing, the whole 1% craze a long time ago, back in early 2000s, like the whole 1% craze, right? And there was that deficit, right? You were talking to all these people who knew this guy and trying to get out of his office, and then, millionaires become billionaires. They know how to access these things, right? They're more taught, right? But the average person in, I'm going to say Scranton, Ohio, because I was just watching The Office, so that's the only thing I could think of real quick. Or the average person here in Bothell, Washington, or the average person in Berrien, or the average person in Oakland, California, they're not going to know about these.
Exactly.
About these programs, they're not going to know about how to make their home more energy efficient. They just see like, oh well, if I want to do that, it's going to cost so much money. So I'm just going to let my house go to shit, so I can still stay afloat, keep my bills. The cost of living is just going up. So the average person doesn't have that deficit is there, but that deficit is created, or at least I firmly believe that deficit is created through our schooling system for a reason. 100%. They shut down a gifted and talented program in Seattle. I'm not sure which school district, but there was a Seattle school district that shut down the gifted and talented program because it was oversaturated with whites and Asians.
Oh yeah.
right? It doesn't check the boxes for all these other things.
Right.
And which is frustrating because it's like, okay, why? Like, it shouldn't be based on your color of your skin. I'm biracial, and believe it or not, if you're watching this live, I'm biracial.
Oh.
Shocking. I'm African American and I'm white, and it's it shouldn't be based on the color of your skin. Because I know some incredibly intelligent African American men and women, incredibly intelligent, more intelligent than I am, that are very successful. And I know a lot of white people who are not. That, right? So it's based on merit. It's based on experience. It's based on who you are, what you can contribute, right? It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your skin color, right? What matters is, can you do the job? Can you contribute? Do you have something that you can offer to help us grow and develop, right? And if that's the case, and you can do all those things, then great. You're a great fit. If you can't, then you're not a good fit. It doesn't matter. Like, I've worked in management a lot. I've had to fire and hire a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yes, I fire people because they can't do the job. If they're not doing the job, they're not meeting the requirements. I gotta fire them. Sorry, that sucks, but you're not doing the job I need you to do. You gotta go. You gotta get on and get on. Yes, I feel bad because I'm taking away the paycheck. I'm taking away what you're doing or things like that. But you're hurting my business. You're hurting what I'm trying to do.
Right.
You're hurting me more than you're helping me. You're helping me develop. And so it's important. Like, we're not set up for success. Was what I was getting. Our kids today are not being taught these things. They're not being taught. You know, well, if you're struggling here, go find this, go find a resource, kind of things like that. They're taught to go ask for help, but the people they ask for help don't know either.
Right.
We're in this generational spiral of going back to people who don't know what to do. And so when I find myself talking to someone that's, you know, a little older like yourself, you're not that old. I think you got way more than 10, 15 years now, easy. But, you know, when I find myself talking to these people who understand it, that get it. Right, like I work for another guy doing our program. It's called Triad Math, but he's 87, 86, 87. He's very proud of it. Decades and decades of experience and things like that. He's seeing how things have developed over time. But then, like, that's so amazing because he's now trying to pass everything he's learned, everything he knows on. Right, he's trying to get it all out there. How to make it more accessible? How to make math more accessible? How to make, you know, exposing, like, this is what's wrong with public school math. This is what's wrong with public education. And it's like, that's a first-hand experience over the last, you know, 2-3 generations of how it's kind of gone. And so it's really cool. I really get excited by these conversations, things like that. And I just think it's great. But our kids are not set up for that success today. I wasn't set up for that. You know, I only learn these things because I actively go out and I seek them. I seek people like you. I seek people like Craig, or I seek people who know more about needs and all these other things to help me, to then be able to help someone else.
Right.
And that's the thing you mentioned earlier, right? The community aspect.
Right.
Where we learn, we give. That's why I mentioned at the top there, like, I give the resource of an interactive thing. I want dads and moms or parents, whoever, especially dads, I want you guys to have an activity to do with your kids. That's why I'm giving you a playbook. Most people have a deck of Uno cards. If not, you can go to Walmart for $5 and get a deck of Uno cards. But then you're helping teaching lifelong skills, emotional regulation, emotional recognition, and you're able to have that real talk with your kids and connect with them. Like, oh, I felt this way when this happened, and then your kids, I felt this way when I feel this way when you yell, or I feel this way when you're just sitting around all day, and when we're not playing together. And you can open up so many doors and access so much to that. So, you know, that's why we do what we do, right? Because we want to give back to the other people.
Oh, no, giving to me is selfish. Because it feels so good.
It does. It does. You know, there's Bible verses and whatnot that talk about giving, right? How giving is the best feeling. How giving is what we're put on here to do, right? Like, if I don't know your religious belief personally, Matthew, but mine is Christian and whatnot, and there's no greater gift than a God who's going to give His only Son, right? To the people to go live a life and then essentially know a life that He's going to die, right? To go and sacrifice His Son for the humanity, and like so the giving is there from the very beginning. We give of ourselves to others because that's how, you know, we're essentially molded. We're molded to give. We're molded to give to other people and to give back. Yes, it's selfish because it does feel good, and it's supposed to feel good when we're giving. When we're giving the right thing from the place that we're supposed to be giving from the heart. You know, you're not in it to make money. You know, you're in it to make enough money to, you know, make $1 more than you need, maybe. After that, it's like, I don't need all this.
Right, exactly.
Kind of thing. And it's
No, I mean, life is being able to do something you appreciate doing and feel worth of value to other people. and not piling up, like Scrooge McDuck or something, money down in the basement.
Right? Who does that help? I mean, you have
Yeah,
all these money just down in
exactly.
the basement. Yes, it's great,
It helps
but
somebody's ego. That's about it.
yeah, it's ego, it's reputation, it's name recognition, but there's a lot of problems that can be fixed by a community of people. The really, really big mega churches
Uh-huh.
could do a lot more than what they're doing, but
Yeah.
they'd rather build huge, extravagant buildings all over the world
All right.
in underdeveloped countries, which is great, but then there's barriers to access, or these multi-billionaires, trillionaires could be putting their money where their mouth is, and they don't.
All right.
You know,
Now.
I don't have a lot of money to put my money where my mouth is. That's why I get all free resources. Right? I don't think it's anything worth charging for. I'd rather you get it for free and have it and do it. But it's, if Bezos and Gates and those big time millionaires, took some of their wealth, especially Bill Gates, like
Well,
Seattle native, right?
see, that's what, to me, now that we have a billionaire president and all his billionaire friends are following him around because they know they can make more money out of the government than they can in doing something that helps the rest of the people. They could find a government program or whatever. I mean, Elon Musk, he made like close to $150 billion just in 2 weeks after Trump was elected. His net worth went up 150 or 170 billion dollars, and that's enough to pay for NASA's budget and 3 other government budgets for the whole year. And this guy made it. He made it in a couple of weeks.
And he's doing incredible things with SpaceX, right?
Right.
NASA, so I think it's SpaceX, but he can send rockets up, and then those rockets come back, and then the fans catch the rocket. Instead of going into the ocean, which NASA does, they just drop their rockets in the middle of the ocean. It's fine. They have laws to protect them. They just drop them in the middle of the ocean. No big deal.
Right.
SpaceX has come back to them.
Right.
And, that $44 billion investment he made in Twitter has very much paid for itself. He's net positive and all that now.
Yeah.
If he never buys Twitter, then who knows kind of where we're at. I'm personally really grateful that he bought Twitter. It opened up a lot of doors. It broke down a lot of walls to censorship and some of these barriers to where we can have more of these open conversations, to where it's like, hey, you're missing out on this resource, come use this resource, or do what millionaires do, right? Or come do these things. And even Trump, he said when he was debating Hillary, like, yeah, I take advantage of the tax breaks. I think it's one of his most famous things. I take advantage of them, so do all your donors.
Yeah.
So do you.
Exactly.
What's the problem? What's the issue?
No, we're all hypocrites.
All of our government officials who make that much money and have their pockets lined, of course they take advantage of the tax breaks.
Yeah.
Of course Elon Musk takes advantage of the tax breaks. Of course they do, because that's the system, that's capitalism. That's what the system's been placed for, so that you can learn about it. But then there's a deficit. If you are starting to make a lot of money and then you start to become a millionaire, you start a business and you start to get really high up, it's either going to be one of two things. The IRS is going to come audit you, take you down, and make you feel like you don't know anything, or you can learn all the things you need to learn and then grow and grow and grow. So at least that's my thought.
No, I mean, and that's what we're all trained to do. But to me, it's what's happening is that we also have to worry about that the 40% or the 50% of the people, or actually 90% of the people, if you look at wages in our country. So back in 1980, when all the wages in the United States, the bottom 90% got 70% of all the wages, and the top 10% got 30% of all the wages. Okay, now you go fast forward down to 2023, the bottom 90%, their share of wages goes from 70% to about 50%, and the top 5% goes from 30% to close to 50% again. So the piece of the pie for the bottom 90% is shrinking. The piece of the pie for the top 10% is growing over the past 30, 40 years. And to me, and we're going in debt. And it seems to me we can't, you can't go in debt by continue. I mean, you can't keep going in debt for a long term and not pay for it. And we can't spend more money than than we bring in. You and I know that, but we don't do that as a country. So that just creates inflation and all this other kind of stuff. That happens. But
I think
it's the bottom 90%. That's not getting a piece of the pie anymore. Now all the shenanigans in the middle of that, I mean, I have no control over. Nobody does, it seems. But
right.
yeah.
Well, I think one of the biggest contributing factors to that decline of the '90s to keep it kind of where it's at is the welfare state, right?
The what was
all
that?
The programs that all the programs that Lyndon B. Johnson put in place when he was in office, of the welfare state, the nanny state. Right? I think a lot of that decline came from there. Because people stopped working as hard because they knew they could get more and more from the government. And now we're kind of in the system to where we're kind of stuck in it. It would take a massive, decades-long reform of government officials working tirelessly, working together, which is, next to impossible, to try to reform that system and get people kind of off of this, this welfare in a nanny state. Like, I get it. I've been part of the welfare system. I don't bash it. People who use it, that's fine. If you need to use it, great. If you don't, great. That's good for you. Either way, great for you. I'm not one to judge. I'm not here to judge you. But I think it's an issue that's created systemic issues beyond that. It's created public education deficits. It's created economic deficits. It's created opportunity gaps. It's created just so many things coming from that. And I think that's a big contributing factor to the wage gap. To the wages going one way and the other one going the other way. Because now the money that the government's giving to the people now goes directly to these millionaires and their big companies, because they're all in cahoots. If you look at what you can buy on welfare or on food stamps, it goes directly with the big companies that essentially fund the government. So it's all kind of intertwisted and tied together, at least from what I know.
Right.
I could be wrong.
No, we're all guessing. It just, I mean, sure, people are taking advantage of the programs, and that's human nature. It's the same way with why are millionaires taking advantage of the programs? To get their utility bills down. That's human nature. To me, if the average person is getting, our pie is growing, so we have a country that still grows, and it's growing more than ever. It's slow in growing, and China and these other countries will be taking us over. I mean, we're no longer the big thing, that we were, and that's our time in the world economy is probably over. We have China is growing faster than we are. Russia even is growing faster than we are. You throw in India, they're growing faster than we are. The community called BRICS that they're part of now is bigger than the G7, that's all the developed countries together. So these companies that are growing, countries that are growing, are doing much better than we in the developed countries anymore. So it's sort of like what happened to England. They were ruling the world at one time, and now they're not. And so I think our day looks like it's coming to an end because of all the other things that are happening in the world. I don't know if that's good or bad. But people are getting hurt. How do we take care of people that are getting hurt? Sure, we don't want to give them money to do nothing. But why do we give millionaires money to do nothing? It's a complex problem. But the people who run the levers, the rich people are there, to make sure that they can get as much wealth as they can. And the people want to grow. I don't know that right thing to help them grow, but if there's a problem, it's sort of like we have you're saying there's a tax break for somebody. Yes, okay. So if there's another break for a low-income people, why wouldn't they use it the same way a tax break for a rich person? but maybe that money should be going somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the other things I can think of with this kind of thing that you're talking about here is if a millionaire has a tax break, they obviously know how to get to it, right? They know how to access it. They know about it.
Right.
The average person doesn't know about those things.
Exactly.
The average person doesn't know what
Right.
tax. They just go through H&R Block or TurboTax and they file and they're like, yeah, that looks good. A couple $1,000, great, cool, fantastic, right? And it looks great, but they're not taking advantage of everything they can be taken advantage of. They're not getting all the tax breaks, all the things they can do, right? The average person doesn't know about C corps and S corps and LLCs and things like that, right? They don't know about these terms. They don't know about what they are. They don't know how they can benefit from them. They don't know about this.
Well, they got to worry about food right now.
Yeah, they're worried about food. They're worried about where the next meal comes from.
Exactly.
Am I going to pay rent this month? Am I going to work enough hours? Oh, I can't take a sick day because I don't have no health insurance. I don't have no sick hours. I got to go work.
Exactly.
Hopefully they don't notice that I'm sick and keep it down low.
By the way, in that Find Help, the Find Help is a great place if you put health care. But there's another website that you guys should know about if you don't, called Needy, NeedyMeds.org. NeedyMeds.org.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
But no, and then, the only thing there is that we should, yes, it's hard for the average person to stomach and digest. Like, yes, we can send billions of dollars all over the world to help all these other places. But what about America?
Exactly.
What about us?
Right.
What about us? What about the homelessness? What about the drugs? What about the border? What about national security? What about all these drones? Drones are hot right now, so I gotta mention drones. Algorithms, things like that. But what about America? What about North Carolina? That's still in shambles. That's just lucky the tiny homes are getting delivered by NASCAR and Lowe's. Because that's where we're at. Like, NASCAR and Lowe's has to solve the problem while the government signs off on billions and billions of dollars going to all over the world. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yep. It's not fair. Click on healthcare savings. Okay, now here on the left-hand side, free prescription drugs, the first one. There's so many programs, local, state, whatever. And actually even the people that will help you fill out those forms that are required to get free prescription drugs. Then the next list down there is see medical clinics, dental clinics, mental health clinics. These are all free and low-cost clinics in every zip code. So if you put in mental clinics now, you want to click down a little, down.
Oh. Mental health clinic.
Yeah. Okay, mental health. Yeah, you know that stuff. Yeah. Okay, get rid of that.
Ads are great. For a website like this, be okay with ads, because ads are how they're keeping their website up.
Right. I don't know if that was an ad or not. That was something else. Okay, put in your zip code there. See, postal code. Maybe your office is in there.
Oh, I wasn't going to put my own zip code.
Okay, so there's free and low cost care there.
Wow.
Uninsured. And that's within 10 miles.
Yeah, no, this is the area I grew up. I grew up in Bothell, Everett, this area.
I see.
Kind of where I grew up, where I went to school. For part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little bit older, I was about 11, about 10 to 13 is where I lived in this area.
So you have 19 pages. So there's probably 100, 200 organizations there, in the zip
about
code.
200,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is really cool.
Wow.
So.
See, and also what's important there too, go back to the healthcare savings. Because here, search by diagnosis as first of all, also transportation. So if you need to get to someplace or see a doctor or something, how to pay for the transportation money that's available. See all those things, travel expenses. You need to get on an airplane to see some specialist, help you pay for there. And up on top of that middle, saving by diagnosis. So diagnosis-based assistance. So depending on your disease, there's nonprofit organizations. Put search by diagnosis on. See that little tab there in the middle? Yeah. Up. Okay. Oh, by states. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is something that I have personally.
Oh, really? Okay.
Let's see. Did it give me anything? Oh, search Twitter. It's searching, it's thinking. Anyway, well, I think I'll put this up here. I'll put the links in the show notes here. But I do wanna wrap us up here.
Okay, yeah, I got another one in a minute or two. I got to run.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we'll wrap us up real quick. Matthew, thank you so much for coming
You
on,
bet.
sharing your wisdom and your passion with me today. Your work is a powerful reminder that there's help out there for those willing to look.
You
that
bet.
Financial independence is within reach for everyone. To our listeners, if you want to learn more about Matthew's work and start unlocking financial opportunities for your family, visit letsgohelp.org or .com.
.com.
letsgohelp.com and check out his YouTube channel at youtube.com/Matthew Let's Go. Thank you for tuning into the Young Dad Podcast. Remember, being resourceful isn't just about working hard, it's about knowing where to find the support that's already there. Until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep building a life of love and opportunity for your family.
See you, Jay. Take care.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Appreciate your time. I'll be in touch with you.
You bet. Oh, shit. What happened at 10 o'clock?